Hey everybody, welcome to the Mana League. I'm John as always, and it's time for Crack-A-Pack Tuesday number 61, and I've got another pack of Shadows over Innistrad. Of course I don't. Eternal Masters came out on Friday. I've got a pack of Eternal Masters. In fact, I've got two. So we're going to crack these packs and figure out what we would take pack one, pick one if this was a draft. And fair warning, I have not drafted this format yet, nor have I even really done a deep dive on the content out there about the format. I don't even know all the commons and non-commons in this set, so bear with me. My pack one, pick one might be super wonky, but we'll see how it goes. So we're going to open this pack, see what's in it, see what we would take. Hopefully it's an easy choice because it's a foil Jace or something like that, but we'll see. Up first, we have a Squadron Hawk. Squadron Hawk is 1 and a white for a creature bird. It's a 1/1. It has flying. When it enters the battlefield, you can search your library for up to 3 cards named Squadron Hawk, reveal them, put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. Squadron Hawks, I briefly played with in some format. I think maybe they were in Conspiracy, possibly? Yeah, it's interesting. You obviously need to have multiples of these, but if you do, you can get a whole bunch of flyers. Generally, you don't want to play 1/1 flyers, but if you can tutor them up on command when you play them, they get a little bit better. But I don't think it's going to be a first pick. Up next, we have Plague Witch. Plague Witch is 1 and a black for a 1/1 elf spell shaper. Pay a black, tap, discard a card. Target creature gets -1/-1 until end of turn. It's a nice little effect. I don't think there's any madness or anything in this set. I think there might be graveyard shenanigans. I think there's Reanimator possibly. So this might be an enabler for it, but I don't imagine that it's a first pick. Next up, we have a Desperate Ravings. Oh, of course, there's not Madness, but there's Flashback. Desperate Ravings, 1 and a red for an instant. Draw 2 cards, then discard a card at random. Flashback for 2 and a blue. So you can cast this from your graveyard, and if you do, you exile the card, so you can get a kind of buyback on it. Well, not buyback, that's an actual mechanic. Yeah, this is all right. I played with this in the original Innistrad set. It's fine, but it's certainly not a first pick. Up next, we have an Elvish Vanguard. Elvish Vanguard, 1 and a green for a 1/1 creature elf warrior. Whenever another elf enters the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Elvish Vanguard. Now, this sounds like a payoff for the elf deck, which I think is black-green, or maybe that was Lorwyn that black-green was the elf deck. Anyways, I believe there's an elf deck. Shaman of the Pack is in this set, so black-green sounds right. This seems like a decent pickup for the elf deck. I don't imagine it's a first pick, but it seems like a solid pickup once you're even slightly going towards elves, because this thing would just get gigantic. But I don't think it's a first pick. And I'm sure you will all correct me if I'm wrong down in the comments below. Up next, we have a Cephalid Sage. Cephalid Sage is a 3 and a blue for a 2/3 creature Cephalid. It's got Threshold, so as long as 7 or more cards in your graveyard, Cephalid Sage has, when Cephalid Sage enters the battlefield, draw 3 cards, then discard 2. This doesn't seem good. It's a 2/3 for 4 most of the time. If you play it really late game, then you get to cast a catalog for free, but you just get a 2/3 off of it. Doesn't seem worth it. I'm not even sure if it's playable, let alone first pickable. Up next, we have Nature's Claim. Nature's Claim is a single green mana for an instant. Destroy target artifact or enchantment its controllers gains 4 life. Solid artifact enchantment removal, but you would never play this main deck ever. So total sideboard card, so not a first pick. I'm sure one of these was a first pick. Possibly the Elvish Vanguard was a first pick. Twisted Abomination, 5 and a black for a creature zombie mutant. It's a 5/3. It's got pay a black, regenerate Twisted Abomination, and it has Swamp Cycling for 2 generic mana. So you can pay 2 generic mana to discard this from your hand and go and get yourself a swamp and put that into your hand. This doesn't seem very good. I don't think you would play this. Maybe this goes in like Reanimator, so you could like swamp cycle it and then reanimate it back, but there's much better reanimation targets. So I don't think this is a first pick, and I can't imagine it's super playable. Not at 6 mana. Up next, we have Monk Idealist. Monk Idealist, 2 and a white for a creature human monk cleric. It's a 2/2. When it enters the battlefield, return target enchantment card from your graveyard to your hand. I don't think there's an enchantment deck, but obviously if you have one that for some reason would end up in the graveyard and you want it back, this is a good guy. Other than that, I don't think he's super playable or first pickable. You know what? Knowing nothing about the set, I am going to put Elvish Vanguard as a potential first pick, because that could get just gigantic in the elf deck. Up next, we have Reckless Charge. Reckless Charge is a single red mana for a sorcery. Target creature gets +3/+0 and gains haste until end of turn. Flashback 2 and a red. This is fine if you're going to be super duper mega aggressive, but otherwise you wouldn't really want to play it, and certainly not a first pick. There's very few combat tricks that are truly first pickable. Deep Analysis, 3 and a blue for a sorcery. Target player draws 2 cards, flashback for 1 and a blue, and pay 3 life. Yeah. Draws you 2 cards. It's an inspiration for 4, and it's an inspiration that you can get back for 2 plus 3 life. It's fine. It's, decent probably in a control deck, I would imagine. I have not drafted a format that has this, I don't think. But yeah, it's fine, but I don't imagine it's first pickable. Into the uncommons, we have Brawn. Brawn is 3 and a green for a creature incarnation. It's a 3/3, it's got trample, and as long as Brawn is in your graveyard and you control a forest, creatures you control have trample. It's a 3/3 for 4, so it's a hill giant or a gray ogre? I can never remember. So it's fine. It's, it doesn't quite pass the vanilla test exactly, but at 4, you typically expect a 3/3. Getting trample on it is nice, and giving your, entire creatures trample, if this is in your graveyard, seems decent. I don't imagine it's exactly first pickable, but it seems like an include in basically every green deck. So, Brawn, pretty good. Up next, we have Burning Vengeance. Burning Vengeance, of course, powered an entire deck archetype in the original Innistrad draft. 2 and a red for an enchantment. Whenever you cast a spell from your graveyard, Burning Vengeance deals 2 damage to target creature or player. So what you obviously want to be doing is getting all the flashback spells. So this is going to be a red-blue deck. And then A, getting the value off of flashing them back, and B, getting to shock a creature or player every single time you do. Burning Vengeance was fun. I never actually got to draft it in the original Innistrad. I've always wanted to. I might give it a try when Innistrad comes back online during Flashback. But yeah, Burning Vengeance could be a first pick and a huge build around. Our final uncommon is Intangible Virtue, 1 and a white, enchantment. Creature tokens you control get +1/+1 and have vigilance. If you've wondered why Always Watching is called Tangible Virtue, this is why. This is Intangible Virtue. It hits the creature tokens. I imagine there's a tokens deck in the format, especially if Intangible Virtue is in the set. I'm not sure what it is, if it's elves, but elves are green-black. So I'm not exactly sure what tokens want Intangible Virtue, but I imagine the deck must exist. And Intangible Virtue, like Always Watching, is a totally first pickable card if you can, power out that tokens deck. Our rare is Sulfuric Vortex, a card that I'm pretty sure I already have a playset of. Sulfuric Vortex, 1 red for an enchantment. At the beginning of each player's upkeep, Sulfuric Vortex deals 2 damage to that player. If a player would gain life, that player gains no life instead. It's obviously meant to be massively aggressive. You want to go probably mono red with a Sulfuric Vortex. I first picked this in Cube a number of times because I hate fun, and I just go super aggressive mono red and just bash my opponent's face in. I don't know if that would work as well in this set, but it could. Who knows? We, of course, have a foil as well. We have a foil Victimize. Victimize is 2 and a black for a sorcery. Choose 2 target creatures in your graveyard. Sacrifice a creature. If you do, return the chosen cards to the battlefield tapped. Well, that sounds like a pretty decent reanimation spell. So you can take 2 creatures from your graveyard, blow up a creature that you have, and then take them back to the battlefield tapped. That seems really solid, to be honest. Kind of glad I have that in foil. That seems cube playable. I don't know if it's first pickable or not. I feel like there's probably better reanimation spells. And there's always that push and pull for reanimation of, do you take the reanimation spells first or do you take the reanimation targets first? Which one pulls you into Reanimator? And I'm not quite sure. And having not drafted this set, I don't think I would fall into taking the Victimize first. So I think we're looking at the Vortex, the Virtue, and the Vanguard. Again, not knowing the set, I don't think I would take the Virtue first. So I'm kind of looking at Vortex as a mono-red super aggressive spell, Burning Vengeance as a total build-around red-blue flashback spell, or Elvish Vanguard, hoping that I can get the elves. But I think ultimately I'll probably just go for the Burning Vengeance, because I haven't drafted that deck. I haven't drafted that deck in the original Innistrad, and I, of course, haven't drafted it here because I haven't drafted Eternal Masters. So I think I would take the Burning Vengeance, and I know that's probably not the correct choice. But definitely let me know what the correct choice would be down in the comments below, as well as up in the poll in the top right-hand corner. We're going to do the second pack as a bonus video, so you can check out that. That should be up right after this video goes up. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, you can find me on on Twitter at The Mana Leak. That's L-E-E-K, like the vegetable, not the card. Facebook.com/The Mana Leak and Twitch.tv/The Mana Leak. You've already found me here on YouTube. You've got that comment section down below. Please click the like button. Please click the subscribe button if you enjoy my content and you want to see more. But as always, if you have any questions, comments, or suggestions, let me know. Otherwise, I will see you all next time.